Hello, my peoples. People kept saying the calendar was all twisted. Hold on. That's as good as it's gonna get, alright? Last video, we were talking about the 5 things you need for your business. And one of those things we talked about learning. And if you haven't seen that video yet, then pause. I'll wait. Click a thumbs up on that video, go check it out, and then come back here. Today, we're gonna be talking about the top 10 books, count them, that every one of you should read. Let's start with number 10, Multiple Streams of Income by Robert Allen. I decided to start with this book because when I read it, it gave a million different ideas for where to start your business. It's almost like a brainstorming session for what it is you want to do. And if you have no idea where to start, this book will help you get there. Robert Allen actually created a challenge for himself and said that in 90 days or less, he could take somebody from the unemployment line and make them financially independent. And I think he wrote a book after that whole experiment called The Challenge, and you should check that out. I'll link it in the description. But this book will help you brainstorm and figure out what it is you want to do. And if you already know what to do, it also talks about different strategies to make sure that you're not just stuck in one little box. And once you've figured out what it is you want to do, you're going to need number 9, Bullseye, The Power of Focus by Brian Tracy. Now this book, I loved it because, well, it was the shortest read and it was really easy to digest. The general idea of the book is to focus in all your energy, attention on the things that you need. So it's going to help you create your goals. It's going to help you to really focus on what it is you need to get from one step to the next, or to figure out what the heck those steps are. So for number 8, I cheated a little bit and I added 2 books. I'm sorry. But number 8 is going to be Crushing It and Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk, also known as Gary V. That's my dog. Gary talks about the power of documenting. But the reason I wanted both of these books is because Crush It was written back when flip cams still existed in the early 2010s, teens. In Crushing It, he talks about the people who read Crush It and actually crushed it. And I don't know. He actually talks about the people who crushed it and read the book and were successful from using those themes. But he also talks about the fact that it's not too late, that you can still do it. And that's actually one of the inspirations for me doing what I'm doing right now. If you do the Audible book or you're into audiobooks, then you should definitely check this one out because Gary V actually adds extra content. And lucky for you, I actually just signed up for Amazon's affiliate thing. So I get a commission from whatever links or things that you get from the description, which is awesome. It's another stream of income. Wink, wink. Book number 10. But it also actually gives you a 30-day trial. And with a 30-day trial, you get stuff like 2 free audiobooks. You get a discount on buying the Audible books. If you were to cancel your subscription, even after 30 days, you get to keep those 2 books that you downloaded. So definitely check it out. Number 7 is Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, you probably see this book everywhere. The reason I'm recommending this book is because it helped shift my mindset from, a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance. And that sounds very, is it new age? Is that the right word? Like crystal ball-y. But Robert talks about the difference between his mentor, who was an entrepreneur, and his dad, who was an academic. He got his doctorate and all this stuff, but he died poor and he didn't really have a lot at the end of his life. Now, I'm not saying that either person died happier or had a more satisfying life. I'm just saying that the book is a story from Robert's perspective of these 2 different lives. And it's really cool to see the parallels and the different contrasts of each person's life. Number 6 is another example of storytelling. And I love this book very much, because it's one of those few books written by a giant billionaire who actually likes to teach people. So Principles by Ray Dalio is the first part of a book series that he's writing. At the beginning of the book, he says he's going to do Principles, which is really just about life. He walks you through growing up, his first job. He takes you through the ups and downs of his hedge fund, Bridgewater, and he just takes you through the story of his life and the principles that you should live by. The whole premise of the book is that successful people live by principles. And when you're making decisions in life, He basically says you should be living by these principles. That'll help you achieve whatever you want to achieve or live the life that you want to live. So number 5 is a book by Ron Chernow, but it's called Titan. And Titan is a newer biography of the billionaire John D. Rockefeller. I loved this book because it gives a perspective of Rockefeller's life like no one's ever written it before. In the past, the only biographies that were available were influenced by John D. Rockefeller or someone in his family, or were written by a reporter who just like hated him and thought he was a villain. But this is a little bit more of a human side of John D. Rockefeller. So by human, it means his crazy successes and his flaws, but it's a lot more objective. And there are a couple chapters in there where you get to see how he rose and became successful, like the little things like writing in an accounting book every single day with every little piece of, filled out. He was an accountant, and so, he kept track of everything. But I loved it because you get to see the human side of this legend, someone you only hear stories about, and you get to kind of put yourself in their shoes. And after that, I felt almost like, not like I knew the guy, but as if I had been a friend of a friend. You know what I mean? To continue going back in time with the whole Rockefeller thing, we're going to go even further, actually 8,000 years further with number 4. I love history. I like stories. I like listening to stories about victory and old things. Maybe I just like stories. Who knows? But The Richest Man in Babylon is actually by George S. Clason or Clausen. And it talks about the discovery of these tablets in the early 1900s that had parables from Babylonians about finance. So The Richest Man in Babylon is the main character, and he's basically telling the story of how in Babylon, the rich own like all the wealth, and the poor people are just like super duper poor. It also takes you through the journey of a guy who was the son of a wealthy person, but the wealthy dad made him learn about money the hard way, and in doing so, the son like wastes all his money. He buys whatever Lamborghinis and mansions were in Babylon 8,000 years ago, and he like just plummets and ends up becoming a slave. But it's a redemption story, so he ends up coming out of it. But you learn serious financial tips from it. Number 3 is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Now, the subtitle of the book, Never Split the Difference, negotiate as if your life depended on it, which definitely caught my attention right away. And Chris Voss used to be an FBI negotiator, so he negotiated hostage situations, people whose lives were threatened. Chris Voss also runs a company called the Black Swan Group now, and it's all about like negotiation, corporate negotiation. But he teaches you things that you can use in everyday life, from marriage negotiation to how to negotiate a higher wage or how to negotiate for a bid on a job or anything like that. It's really good stuff. You should read it. Go, read it. I dare you, read it. So you'll be able to negotiate anything. Like, check this out. What is it going to take for you to click the subscribe button? I don't know, an awesome video? Still watching? Looks like I won the negotiation. No, definitely click subscribe, because every little subscription helps, and I really appreciate it. Actually, that brings me to number 2, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Now, this book definitely deserves to be at the top of the list. The Compound Effect basically takes away the microwave mentality of our generation and turns it back in time a little bit to our grandparents' generation. The whole idea is that, hard work, success, everything is going to take time, but little things that you do every day add up. In his book, he's always doing comparisons, like 2 different people, one who reads 10 minutes a day and exercises for like 20 minutes, and the other person who doesn't, and they start at the same place. But at the end, you can see a huge difference. Same thing, he talks about finances, he talks about goals and work. It's amazing. You have to read the book. There's one example where he talks about golfing, and I love golf. He talks about 2 golfers who take money on every hole. The first hole, you start at 25 cents, and then the second hole, 50 cents, the third hole, $1, fourth hole, $2, right? And on and on and on. But by the last hole, the 18th hole, the person who loses owes like tens of thousands of dollars or like hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's insane. And the compound effect is real. Every little thing we do every day dictates where we're going to be in the future. I heard someone say once, you are today a reflection of the decisions that were made in the past. And I kind of like this because that means that every day really is a new day. Every day you can decide that who you were in the past can stay in the past, and who you're going to be starts today. Because today you can actually make the changes that in a year, 5 or 10 years are actually going to make a huge difference. All right, and finally we're here. Number 1, the law of success. Now, the law of success was written by Napoleon Hill in 1928. But in the law of success, Napoleon Hill takes you through 15 different laws that if you follow will lead you to success. Whatever success is for you, whether that's family related, financially related, spiritually related, conquering fears. He talks about it all, and it's amazing. And the reason I picked this book is because it covers every topic. If you don't know much about Napoleon Hill, his story starts with Andrew Carnegie, and he was asking Carnegie, how did you become successful? And Carnegie was like, I assume by success that you mean money. And Napoleon Hill responds, well, yeah, that's kind of like what most people mean by success. And so Andrew Carnegie was like, well, Napoleon, why don't you spend the rest of your life figuring out what it is that makes people successful? And then Napoleon was like, well, Andrew, why don't you introduce me to all your billionaire friends and people who are successful? So Napoleon spent the next 20 years interviewing Henry Ford, and I think he met Thomas Edison and all these other people who helped create everything we use today. So that's it. You made it. Those are the top 10 books that you should read. And if you want me to make a part 2 of this video, then comment down below, hit that subscribe, hit that like, share, tell all your friends, and let's get these subscribes to compound up, and I'll definitely be bringing you guys more stuff. So don't forget every day to make your goals and dreams a reality, and remember that you can do it. All right, see you guys on the next one. Peace. Hey everyone, this is it. You've just entered the YouTube channel that's going to talk about entrepreneurship, getting started. So please like, subscribe, and tell everyone about it. It means so much to the channel. I really appreciate you guys watching and hope to see you on the next video.